Would you vote for a ban on Congress members trading stocks?
This is one of those stupid things that I've been dragged through the mud on because Jesse Waters had basically insinuated that I was insider trading. What I vote for? Yeah, sure. Who cares? Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter to me because I don't have any money to put in the stock market.
Seems like you care. Seems like you care a lot. That was
Yeah, it does seem like you care a lot. One-eyed Dan, Dirty Dan, insider trading, allegedly Dan. You don't care? Why are you so angry? And the Kasparian and the left agree with Mag on the right. Wow, this is the area of agreement that the Chank Chunk Uger was talking about. Now, if we could just get him to drop his nonsense about the alternate electors committing some type of crime, maybe we could have a beer afterwards, Chank. But let's just focus on Anna Kasparian, the young Turks. They're based here. They're about to get into the crevices of the one-eyed wonder, Dan Crenshaw, and his weird response to, I don't know, us just wondering if it's okay to stop you guys from printing money using the stock market.
Republican Congressman from Texas, Dan Crenshaw. Poor widow baby Congressman Dan Crenshaw. He's worried lawmakers like him might be banned from trading individual stocks. Now, if you're hoping that such legislation passes, please don't hold your breath, but it doesn't matter. The mere mention of such legislation really did set Congressman Crenshaw off. So look, let me explain. Back in July, there was this bipartisan group of senators who had proposed legislation that would ban stock trading, individual stock trading among lawmakers, their spouses, and their dependent children. I mean, the idea of like a minor, doing day trading or trading individual stocks, like amazes me, but I'm sure it happens.
Oh, they'll do anything. These people don't care about anything but their money. Because when they get to Congress, Tulsi Gabbard talked about this, Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about this, they are shocked at how corrupt it is. And I think they just become a part of the swamp.
Now, it was called the Ethics Act, or Ending Trading and Holdings in Congressional Stocks. And so the Democratic co-sponsors for this bill included senators like Jeff Merkley, Gary Peters, and John Ossoff. On the Republican side, you have Josh Hawley, who has really taken the mantle of economic populism on the right specifically. And so when NPR asked about the bill, Senator Merkley said the following, quote, "If you want to serve in Congress, don't come here to serve your portfolio. Come here to serve the people." And that's absolutely right. Now, here's why it's an issue when people are trading individual stocks in Congress. Remember, these are people who make decisions about regulations. And if they are heavily invested in an industry or in a company that could see their profits impacted through the regulations that Congress is considering, it's less likely that that Congress member is going to support the regulations or the policy. There's also the issue of insider trading, because remember, members of Congress have all sorts of closed door briefings where information that we are not privy to is shared with them. And so with that information, they could very easily trade individual stocks, knowing that, the value of the shares for one company might go up or down. And so Merkley also said that the public is absolutely united in saying stock trading is wrong, Merkley said, pointing to a University of Maryland poll indicating 85% of the public backed banning trading by members of Congress. So I want to be specific, because the legislation wasn't about, oh, you're not allowed to invest in the stock market at all. It's just that, hey, trading individual stocks, like stocks belonging to a specific company or companies, that's the issue here. So, maybe a mutual fund, maybe an ETF, that's fine. But we really do want to stop the practice of trading individual stocks in Congress. So in 2012, the so-called Stock Act was implemented, which basically requires lawmakers and their spouses to just simply disclose when they trade individual stocks over $1,000 within 45 days. And it's not about banning members of Congress from engaging in any corruption or conflicts of interest. It's not about that. It was simply about being more transparent with the American people in regard to what these politicians are actually financially invested in. But the problem with this law is the fact that it's not really enforced. And
Stay tuned. I'm going to give you at the end after she's done here. I'm going to give you a way to explain this to your auntie who's an establishment corporate supporting Republican or Democrat. Your auntie who likes Amy Klobuchar, your grandpa that likes Mitch McConnell. How to explain to them why this is a problem. They probably hate Donald Trump, and this is a conversation separate from Donald Trump. I'm going to give you a way to explain it to them like they're 5 years old, what the problem is with Dan Crenshaw here.
the enforcement mechanisms really have no teeth. So even though this was a law that was passed and implemented in 2012, we have seen the stock portfolios of members of Congress really explode. I mean, I think Nancy Pelosi gets a lot of heat for this because she tends to outperform the S&P 500. I wonder why. How could that happen? So, several lawmakers made large profits after trading.
Yo, she's not just outperforming the S&P 500. She and her husband, this is all being done through her husband. They're trading options, not even straight up stock. If you don't know what options are a way to kind of exponentially, if you're really sure about something, to make bank over bank because they're very risky. But when the risk is removed, you don't just trade stock, you trade options. Let's get back to Anna Kasparian and the Young Turks.
Financial services stocks before major banks began to fold. Those trades raised questions about whether they were profiting from information they learn on congressional committees. I am going to go ahead and speculate that, yeah, it seems like that's been happening. In fact, there was a big story during the coronavirus pandemic where senators who had a closed door briefing on the severity of coronavirus immediately went and started like buying stock for things like Zoom, video conferencing companies, things like that. And they did this before the general public was made aware of how severe the pandemic was going to be. They did this before the lockdowns and the shutdowns happened. So, I mean, I'm not an idiot.
No, you're not. And they're probably in their meetings hearing about the pandemic and how we're all going to get locked down and all that. They're like, hey, I can't stop this. This is above my pay grade. Your representatives, your senators and congressmen and your members of the House. So they say, well, I might as well take all of the money off the Titanic, jump off and get a speedboat before it hits the glacier. That's what they did, and that's what they continue to do every day. Here's how you explain it. For like like an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old. That's your auntie and grandpa. Hey, auntie, imagine you're playing some type of board game, like Monopoly or something like that, and one player, let's just say, knows the secret about what's going to happen next. They know what the die is going to be before it's rolled. If they use that secret to win, it wouldn't be very fair, right? Pay attention to me, Grandpa. Can you hear me? Well, that's what happens when Congress members trade stock. They know things other people don't. So they're able to print money basically on it. Like if a new law is going to pass, or a bill is going to happen, these laws that they don't write and they don't even know whether to vote for or not. Some lackey tells them whether to do thumbs up or thumbs down. Half the votes they don't even attend. They're in the Cayman Islands somewhere. Dan Crenshaw, he knows a thing or two about this. He doesn't think it's a big problem, though. It's not a top priority. He doesn't worry about it too much. Oh, I don't care. Yeah, it sounded like he didn't care a lot, huh? That's why he was cussing and probably slamming his fist against the wall like he did during the speaker vote. To make it fair, people just have this weird idea that maybe if you're a public servant, you should focus on servicing the public and not your stock portfolio while you're in office. That way you can keep, well, let's just say, both eyes on the prize. uh, to do what's best for our country and not just your bank account.
The next clip is ready below. Welcome to After Show Carnage.